Hello everyone, I'm your IELTS tutor Jack, and welcome back to another episode of the IELTS Plus English podcast. So another week has flown by. Time just goes so fast nowadays. I don't know if it's just me, but I'm happy to be back, happy to talk about travel and holidays today, which I think is a really fun topic for everyone. I think everyone loves traveling to a certain extent, whether it's internationally or domestically. So before we get into today's topic, of course, head over to jax-english.com to get your free handout, our 38th free handout. What a wonderful amount of free materials. So check that out there. And if you are in Korea, which is where I am based, please check out the Naver Cafe, Jax English, Yongguk Yongo. I'd love to see you there as well. Now, travel and holidays. As I said, it's a really fun topic. And this is where I really want to hear your stories. So if you are an IELTS student and you're answering these questions for me, I want to hear some anecdotes. Anecdotes are your stories, your personal experiences. So it's a really good opportunity to demonstrate your ability to talk about the past. Of course, because we're talking about holidays, we talk about our past holidays. So hopefully I'll get an opportunity to do that today. I'll try and talk about some of my past travel experiences and use as much of this vocabulary and expressions as I can. So without further ado, let's do some part ones to get me warmed up. Question 1, do you like travel? I love travel. Unfortunately, I haven't done much traveling for 2.5 years now because of coronavirus. The last place I traveled was England, which is my home nation, but I did go there for 2 weeks to hang out, spend time with my family for Christmas. So I consider that my last holiday. Okay, where was the last place you visited on holiday? Well, as I said, the last place I visited on holiday was probably England. But I suppose some people would not consider that a holiday because it's my home country. The other place that comes to my mind, which happened before coronavirus, was Vietnam. And I went to a coastal city, I believe it was called Nha Trang. I can't remember well. And I had a wonderful time there in the hot sun. Good. Okay, we're already starting to bring out those stories. That's what I said would happen. And part 2 is the same kind of thing. So part 2 this time is describe a tourist attraction you once visited. I'm going to put 2 minutes on the clock. I have to think what I'm going to say. 2 minutes starts now. I'd like to tell you about Seoul Tower. About 10 years ago, I first went to Seoul Tower, which is a tower in the middle of Seoul on a mountain with stunning views of the city. So I first went there 10 years ago. I climbed this hill. It's more of a small hill, actually. I climbed it. It was quite challenging. It was a hot day, and I got to the top. And because it's such a touristic location, there were a lot of cafes, restaurants, coffee shops, souvenir shops, and so many people. I was shocked. It was full of buses at the top of this hill because there is a road that goes to the top. So many people and buses, and it was really buzzing with energy. But, I really enjoyed myself up there. I looked at the views. I think we hung out up there and had a cup of coffee, and then made our way back down through the forest. It was a really nice day and quite a memorable experience. Since then, I have gone there a number of times, and I do enjoy that location in Seoul. So let me tell you a little more about Seoul Tower. As I said, it is just a very, very tall tower in the middle of Seoul. It's quite a unique shape, so it stands out when you're looking at the landscape. And it sits on top of a hill. It's in the center of Seoul, and it's one of the popular places to visit. one of the most popular, and one of the things that you see when you look at a picture of Seoul or you look at a postcard of Seoul. So for me personally, it's somewhere that is quite a romantic location in some ways. That, you know, you can go up there and have a meal while looking over the city, which is beautiful, especially at night. The night view is, okay, there you go. 2 minutes are up. So quite easy to talk about that. It was partially lying. I talked about this trip I took there 10 years ago. I don't think it was 10 years ago, and I added some details to that, but that's fine, right? In IELTS, if you can lie, that is a good thing to do. It's a very helpful skill. Don't lie outside of IELTS, but in IELTS, it's absolutely fine. So let's move on to some part 3s. How has traveling changed compared to several decades ago? I think it's changed in a number of ways. The transportation has developed a lot, so more places have become accessible. This has meant that you can go off the beaten track and see unusual locations or stay in unusual locations as well. I think there are some applications nowadays which allow you to stay in really sort of unusual accommodation. I think also the development of more adventurous travel has made traveling very different now compared to the past. So I think there's a number of ways that it's improved. Good. Okay, that was a bit of a messy answer, to be honest. I think I could have sort of structured it more logically, but overall not bad. Lots of detail, which is good. Is it important to travel to other countries? Yeah, I think it's important. It's not vital. You know, you can live your life in your country, read books, watch documentaries, and live a very fulfilling life and have quite an understanding of other cultures. But if you do have the opportunity, I think it's a great thing to do, is travel other countries, see the way other people live, think, deal with problems. You know, people around the world are so different. So yeah, I think traveling is quite an important thing to do if you have the opportunity. Okay, that was better, much better structure. I think I could improve that by adding my example. I really think that would have been a good thing to do, is to say, for me personally, and then talk about my experience in Korea or Australia. I'll try and do that in my last answer. How does tourism affect your country? Well, in Korea, I think that the main effect probably is that it creates these tourist traps, which are areas where tourists flock to and the prices are unreasonable, and it's really geared towards getting money from tourists. And the problem with this is when I go to these locations or other residents in Korea or Seoul, it's just so expensive and I don't want to go to those locations. So I kind of have to try and avoid them. A good example of this is when I went to Jeju. And Jeju is a lovely island off the coast of South Korea. But there are so many locations in Jeju where the prices are crazy, double what you would expect. And that can make it difficult to travel, difficult to budget, and you have to think very carefully about where you go. So I think, yeah, this is one of the negative effects of tourism in my country. Good, okay. That's it, and quite a nice topic. Of course, for you at home, draw on your experiences. That means use your experiences to give full and wonderful answers that only you could give. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. We are getting so close to the end. We've only got 39 and 40, and then we are done for season 1. So please review today's lesson. Study hard, as I always say, and I will see you next Wednesday for our next topic. So have a wonderful week and see you soon. Bye-bye.